Hi, John Meter here from Northern Stars Planetarium. I have an activity for you today to learn something about the constellations and to do a little art at the same time. I have a game called Constellation Charades. And the object of this game is we're going to draw a constellation together without you knowing what it is. And your job is to try to figure out which constellation we're drawing in the process of drawing it. And at the end I'll fill you in to make sure you get it right. So the first thing I need to have you do to do this activity is go find a piece of paper and something to draw with. Maybe a pencil or a pen or maybe a marker like this. Go get that, I'll wait for you and come on back and then we'll get started. Alright, I assume you've got your paper and drawing utensil all ready to go. So the first thing I need to have you do is to put the directions on your piece of paper. At the very top, put an N for north, right in the middle. At the bottom, put an S for south, right in the middle. Halfway up the left-hand side, put an E for east, and on the right side, put a W for west. Now, if you know anything about maps, that might seem a little backwards to you. Because if you look at a map, you'll notice that east is always on the right side and west is always on the left side. But a map is for looking at something on the ground, and we're looking at something that's up in the sky, and when you go up to the sky, it reverses that. Just trust me on that, because it's true. So now, we have our paper. You have it all labeled? I hope so. So let's move on and start our constellation. We're going to draw star by star. So I always think it's good to start right in the middle. So let's go to the middle, kind of halfway between north and south and halfway between east and west. And we're going to put a dot there for our first star. I'm going to put it right there. You can put a dot, or you could do a star. So I'm going to do a little star like that, because I like stars. There we go. So that's our first one. Can you tell which constellation it is? Probably not for one star, right? So let's add a couple more. Our next star is going to be one of the two brightest stars in this constellation. And it's down in the southwest. So that means it's down towards the south and over towards the west. Put it halfway between the two. We're going to put it right here. Now, since this is one of the brightest stars, let's indicate a bright star by making it look a little bit bigger, so it stands out a little more, because this is a bright one. Right there. There we go. So now we got two. Let's do the other bright star too. That's in the northeast. So we go up towards the north, over towards the east, and we're going to put this one right here. And that's a bright one too, so make it a nice bright star. Take your time and do it well. I'm going to doctor that one up a little bit because it's a little messier than I like. There we go. That's better. So now we have three kind of in a diagonal row with the one in the middle being a little bit fainter. Our next bright star is going to be in the northwest. So go to the north and to the west, but not quite so far west with this one. We're going to put this one right about here. Right there. And it's not as bright as the other two bright ones, but maybe a little brighter than the one in the center. Now let's add some fainter stars. Go to this bright star up in the northeast and go just above it, and we're going to put a star right there. This one's not as bright. And then another one way up here. Like that. You got those? There's two more faint ones right up near the north. So go from this one over towards north and put one right about there. Little faint one, it's not very bright, and one right underneath it, very close by, right there like that. So we've got two there, one here, here, and then to our really bright one right there. Let's make that even brighter. I know, I keep fiddling with things, but that's how I do things sometimes. So now we've got a little arc of stars there. Come over to this bright star and draw a line from here to here and keep going almost to the edge and put a little faint star right there. Like that. And we're going to put one right above it, maybe just a finger width or so, right about there. Like that. And one underneath it, about the same distance down, about a finger width. So put that one right about there, like that. So we got three in a row there. All sets of sets of threes in the rows. Go above the top one and come in a little to the east, not too far, and put another one right there. And go to the bottom one, and this one we're going to come down a ways, maybe down about this far, down here, and put that one right there. Like that, another little faint one. These aren't bright stars, but they're going to be important to our constellation in the end. So we've got a scattering of stars, but we need to add another couple fairly bright ones. We have one in the northeast, and we have one in the northwest and the southwest. Well, let's put one in the southeast. So come down over to the east a little bit, down towards the south. This one's going to be more towards the center. We're going to put it right about here. And a fairly bright one. Not as bright as our two brightest ones we talked about, but it's still fairly bright. Put it right there. Can anyone tell what constellation we're making? Well, let's add a few more. Go to our one we started with, right in the center. That one's key because this one might give away the trick of which constellation we're drawing. Because if you go down into the east of it, and just a little south of east, we're going to put another one right there. Like that, about the same brightness as the one we started with. Just like that. And underneath it's a very faint one right there. And then if you keep going down, there's going to be another little faint one there. And then underneath it right here is one that looks a little fuzzy. Because that one's not really a star. It's a nebula, which is a big cloud of gas that's floating out in space. And that's what we have right here. It kind of looks like a star until you look at it with binoculars and you realize it's something different. Go back to our star we started with right there. We went down to make this one and made this little line. Now we're going to go up and put another one right, get my head out of the way, there like that. And we have three in a nice row. Anyone recognize the constellation now? It should be showing up to some of you, I think. Well, let's put some lines between the stars and draw our picture. Now in the real sky there aren't any lines, so you'd have to just know this. But here on our artwork we can add the lines so the picture shows up better. So start at this bright star and draw a line up to the western one of the three in a row, like this. And then go to this star and go to the eastern one, like that. And while we're doing it, let's connect those three stars. Go from the eastern one up to our other bright one, like that. And the western one up to this one, like that. Now connect these two. Hopefully it's starting to fall into place for you. Draw a line up here, then up here. And then with those two we're going to make a little triangle. Put a line between them if you want. Then come back to this one. And then go like this to this one. Over here we draw a line over to these stars and connect them all like this. And the constellation we're drawing is, of course, O-R-I-O-N, Orion the Hunter. Now as I look at our mighty hunter, I realize that we've forgotten something in our drawing. Anyone know what he's missing? Yeah, he doesn't have a head. He does have a head, we just didn't draw them. They're fake little stars, there's three of them. One right there, one right there, and one right there. So we'll call that his head, and we'll just draw a little line about halfway across this line up to his head just to connect it with the rest of the drawing. So there we have Orion the Hunter. And if you really want to get artistic, you can color him in, give him a shirt and color him in and color his legs and, you know, be artistic about it if you want. That's great. If you get outside some night, at any time of the winter time or the early spring, look up in the southern sky and you should find him up there. A couple things you might notice would be this bright star in his shoulder right here will have a reddish color to it. That's a star called Betelgeuse. And the other bright star down in his other foot right over here is a star that's very bright named Rigel. And Rigel will stand out nice and bright. And right now it will probably look like the brightest star in Orion. Betelgeuse's brightness changes occasionally, and right now it's kind of in a dim phase. But that may change. We'll have to just wait and see. Well, I hope you've enjoyed drawing Orion with me, and I hope you get outside and look in your backyard and look up in the sky and see if you can find him up there in the winter or in the spring. And if you enjoyed this, we'll be back again sometime and do another constellation soon. Take care, and remember to keep looking up.